Okay, let me try that again.
Okay, so you're on YouTube Live.
Oh.
Okay, Earl, I think this should be age.
There's time to say something. All right.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, good evening with each and every one of you. It's a pleasure and an honor to host this special webinar as part of the One Love podcast series. Today we are privileged to have in our presence many of our Muslim chaplains in Canada, and of course many of them who have been listed on the poster couldn't make it and they send their regrets, but altogether we hope to have a fruitful conversation from the pioneers that we have in the house with us tonight, like Ibrahim Downey, and to those who are studying to become chaplains like Imran Yar, and of course everyone else. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Muhammad Masla. I want to thank Zakia, Imran Yar, Shakuro, who is a long-time volunteer chaplain, and of course we have with us an elder here in Canada, Earl Smith, who sits on the Canadian Multi-Faith Federation that manages chaplains throughout the city of Toronto. So Earl, I will give you a few words to welcome everyone.
Well, thank you, Habib. Well, first of all, let me welcome everyone on behalf of the Canadian Multi-Faith Federation. I think I'm the only one here at that point from this, except for you work for them, Habib. So, but I will do the honors there. And certainly from my church, I mean, chaplains to me, and I've been involved with multi-faith chaplaincy probably for 30 years or so. It's one of the areas in which I met Habib many, many years ago, not to date us too much. And, chaplains care for people. That's how we look at it in my church. I mean, a chaplain is a shepherd. He cares for his flock. He's concerned about what goes on. And my founder, L. Ron Hubbard, always has said that the essence of all spiritual life is to assist those too weak to help themselves. And Scientology helps people to help one another. And this is the message of all prophets in all ages: help one another. And it is a formula for life that cannot fail. And it is the message of Scientology. And I know that that's what you all are doing, is giving help, not just in your community, but I'm sure beyond that. And I so respect and admire you all for that. And I've so enjoyed meeting some of you here and there over the years. Very thankful to be part of this this evening's conference. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless.
Thank you very much, Earl. I just found the YouTube link, so I wanted to share that. My God, it's not even allowing me. Good. So So Ibrahim, over to you. Tell us a bit about how you got involved in becoming a chaplain in Canada, and what is it that you're doing currently?
Okay, thank you, Habib. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wow. There's so many stories to tell, and I'm gonna be as concise as I can and just say that I'm a former inmate. I'm a gang leader. I was a drug dealer. I was a bad guy. This was before Islam, of course. Let's just say before Islam, I had no sense of myself or sense of right and wrong. I didn't care. It was about survival. putting some dollars in my pocket. And with that attitude, I did a lot of wrong. And it just so happened that, by the will of God, I was put in jail for something that it wasn't my fault, but I was involved in. Somebody else stole something, I supported them in doing something, and I got caught with them. And because of that, now I end up doing time. And when I was doing time, the whole plan was that God put me in a condition where I learned something I didn't know. I didn't know anything about Islam or Muslims. And when that came to me, I knew that it was something I had to look deeper into, but I was challenged with that. And it was difficult because it wasn't part of what I was looking for. I didn't know it. I wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't understand and so on like that. But there were so many things that it taught me from the first time I was reading the Quran. One of the brothers who was a good friend of mine from the streets, Gladstone Hall, his Muslim name is Amin. He embraced Islam, and when we saw each other in the Don jail, he came to me and he told me something like, this is the book, and it is guidance for certain for those who want to be close to God. I didn't realize what he was saying at the time. It didn't, it's like, yeah, big deal, right? And later I found out that ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. It's like, what? when I understood that, I said that he was literally giving me those words and putting it in there. And when he dropped it like that, it changed everything inside of me. Something flipped. It was a flip switch, and it just went on. And it's like Earl said, and Earl, we met long time ago back when there was some meetings on Sherburne Street. If you remember, you guys used to have meetings on Sherburne Street, yes?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then we met again at the Scientology on Young Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just passing by. Hey, Earl, how you doing? Hey, but we know each other for a long time because
That's
I started in 1985. I embraced Islam 1983, May the 10th, 1983. Excuse me, 1:45 p.m. And to this day, and I'm talking about to this day, I'm still doing the work of chaplaincy. Matter of fact, I had a Zoom call with an inmate from Joyceville Penitentiary 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
And others will tell you I've been busy. They're calling me up. Can you do this? Can you do that? What about this? Can you advise us? Can you encourage something? And so on like that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with the youth. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with helping people understand how to hold on to the rope of Allah. This is one of the crucial things that I find is that people are looking for answers, but it's almost like they want to let go of the rope and go run and find their answers. When they go to let go of the rope, that's when they run into the problem, because then they're without guidance. And if you forget Allah, Allah make you forget yourself. And that's when you get into the real problems. That's when they get deep.
Right.
And then you have a difficulty of being able to come out. So
amazing. So you're still doing work with the inmates even online in Canada, although you're living in Malaysia. And
yes.
Secondly, you got involved in chaplaincy as a product out of your incarceration, accepting Islam and seeing the benefit of people actually counseling you and being there for you. And you have done the same. I mean, congratulations.
It was a challenge. It was a
we
challenge.
Admire that. Yeah.
It was a challenge because he challenged me. He said that if you can find, he gave me his Quran. And he told me, if you can find even one mistake in this book, one mistake, everyone in the world would follow you.
Wow.
I thought that would make me great. I was like, yeah, I can find one mistake. I mean, it's a whole book. I got to be able to have one mistake out of here, right? So I went at it completely in the wrong way. I was...
Yes, determined to find that one mistake.
One mistake. Yeah. One mistake, I could do that.
But then for a mistake, end up with the truth.
Yeah. Okay. And it lit inside of me a light. So yeah.
All right, so we'll turn the cameras to Sheikh Muhammad Maslah. Where is he? He was here all the time. My God.
I think he stepped out.
Okay, we will turn the camera to Shakuru. Muhammad Ishu. Shakiru.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam rahmatullah.
How are you doing? How's
you can put your camera on. We can
Inshallah,
see your
I hope you
beautiful
can see me.
face.
I hope you can see me because I'm in the car.
Okay. Yeah, we can see your beautiful face. So Shakur,
Alhamdulillah.
everybody knows you as Shak, but
Yes.
you have been visiting the penitentiary in Maplehurst in Beaver Creek for 20 years. Tell us the reason why you
Alhamdulillah.
got involved in volunteering as a chaplain, and what is it that you've been doing currently as a chaplain?
Alhamdulillah, it's a choice of Allah, not my choice at all. Because I got involved with this chaplaincy or in volunteering through brother Abdul Rashid Michael.
Yeah.
At that time, I was living in Berry, and then it's one Saturday that he came on Sunday. One Sunday, he came to meet us in the small mosque that we are there, and he asked, because Berry is close to governors than Toronto and others. He said, we need somebody from here to come and support the image over there. And just that, at that time, it's just like a year that I came to Canada. So I was still immature to the system of Canada, but of course, of the Islamic religion, I'm not, what is it called? I mean, Alhamdulillah, I have understanding and knowledge of Islam, Alhamdulillah. So we make an appointment and we went together. We are three of us that we went together. Then after a while, the time comes, and then I continue doing it on every month or twice per every other month. After I apply and I was approved and everything goes on, we went for training, and then I start continue. While the other brother was moved out from Berry, he went to St. Catherine, so it's not easy for him to commute. So that's how I will continue there. And then I started with Federal after a year and a half, and I got a connection with CNCC, Central North Correction Center, Penitentiary. It just opened, and they are looking for Muslim chaplain. So they contacted me, and then I involved in that one. That's how I started provincial. That was in 2001. Then after that, I was working as all this time, I was working as engineer manager in different companies, and it depends on location. But still, every weekend I go to CNCC, and once in a month I go to Federal. Because all my work is only from Monday to Friday. I try to reserve my Saturday and Sunday sometimes for the Federal, and Saturday reserve for the profession. Then after 5 years, around 2008, around 2009 or 10 or something like that, I started Mapleus. We still continue. Then from Mapleus, I was getting involved with the Vanet, and then get connected with a youth center in Brampton. And also from there, I get connected with Toronto South. So now I have Toronto South, Vanet, which for the women, and the youth center in Brampton, and the Mapleus that I'm doing every week, including CNCC. And as you know, once in a week, because now pandemic is finished, so I start again with the Federal again. Because during the pandemic, I only reserve myself in a short period, I mean, for certain conditions because of the pandemic, but I never stopped doing chaplain during the pandemic, never stopped. I still continue going to CNCC in Penitentiary, Mapleus, Toronto South, and the youth and Vanet. Only those one I consistently doing every week. And up to
And
today,
you have a
I mean,
full-time job.
I have my full-time job. I did my full-time job only Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. For the rest of the day, I did this all the time.
Incredible.
And today I have Vene in the morning. I have Mapulus in the afternoon. Then I have a youth center, which is in Brampton, in the late afternoon to evening. So I finished there around 6, and I came here to Kupamos to pray my Maghrib, and that's why I stay here to be online with you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Alhamdulillah.
Shakur, one more thing you could share with us. What
Yeah.
was it like during the pandemic for you to serve the brothers inside? What was it like?
MashaAllah. You know, for me to explain it, it's like it's just like praising myself, but I can't praise myself in any chance. But first and foremost, I praise Allah and I thank Him for the opportunity, because it's really big opportunity. Why I say this one, the brothers or anyone that is there, because it's not only brother I met so many times during the pandemic. Any one of them, they can't find that any family, they can't any family visit, any person, anyone from outside visit. So when they found opportunity to see me, it's like they see the whole world. You cannot imagine. Sometimes I spend more time than anywhere else that I can spend time. And most especially in Mapulus that we have restriction of time, but they give me a special badge that I can go anywhere, and I don't need to go through many control or many checkpoints. So with this one, I just go on, and then this one is really important. Well, you know, during the pandemic, it's really important for them to have somebody to talk to them about their faith. Not only about the faith, but to give them the courage and the hope that they cannot. And this is, I mean, it's much important during the pandemic than regular time.
Thank you, my brother.
We cannot express, I cannot even express to you how much they appreciated, even if it's only 1 minute they have with you.
I know. I was lucky when we couldn't go for like 6 months inside, and when we actually went, the burst of joy and smiles and happiness the brothers expressed upon seeing me and hugging or talking or just coming and pray. One brother told me the other day in Millhaven, like it's the first time in 4 years he actually got to pray in congregation throughout the pandemic, and before he couldn't pray in congregation, and just to pray. And it was only 4 of us in the chapel. So that was amazing. I will turn the camera to Master, he left us. Zakia, would you like to speak about your experience as a chaplain and your studies? I hope you will. Zakia? Zakia is trained at Emmanuel to become one of the first female chaplains.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm caught off guard. I was here to actually just tune in and reconnect with the community of chaplains, but I'm happy to speak.
Yes, please go ahead. It has been a long time, but you're still in our thoughts and prayers and presence, and thank you for everything. Zakia actually came to the One Love Gala. She was very interested in the beginning to know what the chaplain does. So go ahead, Zakia.
Yeah, I'd like to just begin by saying I'm honestly honored to be in the company of all the people that are here today. And it's so moving to hear Brother Ibrahim's story. And Brother Shakir, I've been on the search for you for a very long time. I lived in Bury for 4 years, and any of the ladies I spoke to, they said, you have to speak with Brother Shakir. And our paths didn't cross. But alhamdulillah, I'm happy to acquaint with you right now. I have a very short experience of chaplaincy, but it was really such a defining experience for me. My background is I'm an Islamic theology graduate from India, And I studied at a very young age. And then, alhamdulillah, I continued to pursue education. I completed my undergrad at the University of Toronto in psychology, health studies, and a minor in religions. And by the time I graduated, I actually felt like I had my feet in two boats. Do I choose like a very traditional role as a theology graduate based on the kind of space that I saw within the Muslim community and Muslim organizations? Or do I kind of step outside of my comfort zone and, maybe pursue something based on my health and psychology degree? Well, life had it that I ended up going to UK. My husband is from UK. And I studied an exceptional program called Diploma in Contextual Islamic Studies and Leadership from Cambridge Muslim College. And this program was really my training ground. It kind of bridged between the two very different areas of learning and training and experiences that I had and merged them together. And it gave me the confidence to kind of recognize that I don't need to choose between these two. It doesn't matter what I do. It will all come as part of who I am and the work that I do. So following my graduation from Cambridge Muslim College, I applied to be a hospital chaplain in a hospital in UK, Queen's Hospital to be exact. And I was the first female Muslim chaplain. Actually, I was the first Muslim chaplain. And if I may share of my experience, there was a lot of history within the organization that led to eventually the opening of a position for a Muslim chaplain. Unbeknownst to me, any of that, I actually had an incredible experience being part of a multi-faith team. And I actually felt like this was a unique opportunity for me as a woman, because for the first time, I felt very validated for the kind of training that I had, and also the kind of educational background that I had. When I read the job description, I actually felt, did somebody know who I was before they wrote this down? And that was actually very fulfilling. So maybe I could speak from that perspective of being a woman who, is trained within the Islamic sciences, and then kind of academically trained and trying to think how best to go forward, contributing to the Muslim community, to the greater community that she is part of, with the skills that she has. The 2 years at the hospital were a really powerful experience. I think you get to see so much of real life, bring out beautiful empathy, uplift people, support people in their vulnerable states, educate people. I found that actually that was really powerful for me, where I had the opportunity to instruct people on, the essence of the faith and what it means and how it translates into people's day-to-day lives, and the small things that you can do to support your patients, like the direction of the Qibla. People don't, when you ask them which way is east, north, south, it's such a kind of confusing question, but even just to simply say why, that's an important thing to be aware of if you have Muslim patients on the ward. So that's something that kind of really resonated with me, how meaningful it was to be able to articulate on behalf of, Muslim patients, their needs, and to be able to represent them in that way. And then more so actually than to be able to explain to hospital staff, what are some of the challenges that, their patients are facing, how they're kind of maybe perhaps processing it, at times what their needs are, as it relates to death, sensitivity with bereavement. I think all of those were very interesting areas to explore as part of my chaplaincy experience. And I guess that's a summary.
Beautiful.
If you have any questions, I can inshallah elaborate or explain. But yeah, that's like a little bit of my experience. Since I've come back to Canada, well, I was raising a young family, so I wasn't ready. And I think I have a lot more to learn about how chaplaincy works in Canada. I have not had the opportunity or the experience to kind of do any chaplaincy related work in Canada, but I'm quite confident that after this seminar, something might open for me as well.
Okay. Well, Zakia, I thought you had joined the Emmanuel Pastoral Counseling Program.
That is my younger sister, Both
Okay.
my younger sisters joined the Emmanuel program.
Okay, awesome. Because that was a segue for us to go to Imran Yar. He is currently enrolled in the Emmanuel College Master's Program, which is a program that I helped start years ago. And I have endorsed and supported so many graduates coming back to Canada who wish to study at Emmanuel and receive a formal education so they could be accepted in the chaplaincy services, whether it's in the hospital, long-term care, prison, Canadian Forces, university, corporate, etc. So Imran, tell us how you got involved in studying to become a chaplain, and what is it that you're currently doing given the pandemic and the issues we had faced with the pandemic?
One second,
Yes.
Imam Habib, can you please give me a second to talk to
Yes, Shakira.
Sister Zakaria?
Zakia,
Sister Zakia.
go ahead.
I'm trying. Sister Zakia,
Yes, brother.
Salam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Do you have my contact? You can get my contact directly now, or you can get it from Imam Habib.
I'll get it
And
from
please feel
Imam
free-
Habib.
Yeah, I will email
please
it
feel
to her.
free. Okay, please feel free to contact.
Inshallah, will do. Thank you very much.
Inshallah. You are very welcome. Shukran.
Alaikum
Salam alaikum.
assalam.
Yes, Imran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honestly, it's a privilege and it's an honor to be here with everyone. When Imam Habib asked me to speak, I was thinking like, I'm still really young in the game, so what am I going to speak about? I'm not sure how to talk to people who have so much experience and so much knowledge. I think for me personally, my journey started off by studying in the UK. So I was studying abroad for about 11 years in one of the Islamic seminaries over there. And I think after you finish, you're left with the question as to where am I going to go now? What am I going to do after this? And you have a lot of options. You have options, not necessarily plenty, but it's those moments where you're able to start thinking about, should I just go back to university to do whatever it is? And I started thinking about, if I did that, then perhaps what I've learned for 11 years or for 10 to 11 years is not going to be benefiting much people. So I needed to find something that could also balance my Islamic knowledge with just generally being able to help people from all backgrounds and all areas. And I realized that because as Muslims, our main goal is always to emulate the Prophet's life as much as possible. And the Prophet was mentioned in the Quran. Allah mentions him in the Quran as Rahmatul lil Alameen, a mercy to all of mankind. He doesn't mention that he's a mercy to just Muslims or he's a mercy to males or females. He mentions that he's a mercy to every single person. So we need to do things that make us capable of, being nice to every single person, listening to everybody's problems, listening to everybody's issues. And I realized that with my Islamic background, it really assisted me in being able to do this in a good manner. So from there on, I looked for where I can find, find somewhere that is going to help me to kind of step out of the Islamic background and step into a more, general background. And from there, I did get in touch with Imam Habib, and he told me about Emmanuel College. And I think Emmanuel College is an amazing place where we're able to express our desire to help each and every single one of us and each and every single person that we come across, because I think that's extremely important. And there's no better place, because Emmanuel College does a really good job at that. So I am very thankful. I'm very thankful to Imam Habib for, setting that up in the past and then recommending me to go there. And I hope that one day, inshallah, after I'm able to graduate, that I'll be able to be a benefit to not only the Muslim community, but the wider community as well.
What was your biggest challenge during the pandemic, studying and also serving the community? By the way, Imran is one of the volunteers of the One Love table every month. He and his sister Sultana, who I saw earlier, they come and they deliver the groceries for us to pack the hampers. which helps a lot, not only for the general population, but a lot of the inmates and their families that benefit from the hamper drive every month. Yeah, go ahead, Imran.
I think one of the biggest challenges that was faced for myself, which I think many students face, was of course being online, being away from the general population, being away from being able to make connections with people in person, and that's something that not only as students, but I'm sure every single person it was difficult to adapt to that lifestyle. But then again, there's were positives, like we're able to just sit down today, in the comforts of our own home and have a meeting together. And these are things that the pandemic, as horrible as it was, it brought up positives, because there's positives in every single situation that we face in our life. And also, as from the spiritual side, I think there was definitely some sort of deterioration in spirituality when people are unable to attend the mosques, or people are unable to pray in congregation, like you were mentioning, how much of a toll it really takes. And I think you don't realize it when you are living it every single day, when you're able to go to the mosque often, when you're able to go to the mosque on Fridays. It's only when it's taken away from you then you realize that, oh man, I'm missing something in my life. For some reason my spirituality is taking a hit. And I think that was one of the biggest challenges as a person who's an imam and someone who is also studying to be a chaplain as well.
Wonderful. One of the questions I had posed to the imams today, to the Muslim chaplains, is that how did you pivot during the pandemic? And we have on the line today with us my co-host Julianne Martin, who is a chaplain of the Salvation Army, and we both couldn't do the One Love Gala, which we had done physically over the years to recognize the successful reintegration of inmates and recognize diversity chaplains. So we decided to do it online through a podcast, and we have interviewed hundreds of people. So this is one idea or one activity of pivoting during the pandemic. I'm sure there are other things that you have done or others have done during the pandemic, and therefore I will turn the microphone to my co-host Julianne. She could share with us what she did during the pandemic to pivot.
Oh, Habib, you're putting me on the spot with tough questions. I was just here to listen and learn from some colleagues. How did I pivot during the pandemic? Now you're asking me to remember things, Habib, and this is challenging.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. We are past the pandemic. We forgot.
At 7:41. No. I mean, I was very, very fortunate in that my role pretty much stayed the same. I did pivot in a few ways, probably in that I was reaching out to people that before were maybe not as open to chaplaincy. I found during COVID, it really primed the pump for spiritual conversations. I think a lot of people were hungry and looking for meaning, and people were reaching out to chaplaincy that maybe before wouldn't have. So I would say the biggest pivot is that I had to figure out how to do more things with less time. But yeah, at the halfway house, we stayed open, and we actually were very lucky in that we were still able to go into the prisons. So I was going as a professional visitor to meet with the men, to talk about their release planning, which was super important at a time whenever the on-site chaplains weren't able to, attend, or the multi-faith chaplains weren't able to attend. And so I was able to sometimes relay some messages for the men that were asking about Habib. I, of course, was very not surprised that the men were very concerned about the chaplains and the people in the community that they had lost some touch with. Just 1 second, buddy. Sorry, guys. So I was able to relay messages in that regard. I also started probably writing a lot more letters than I used to, and creating newsletters, and trying to do everything, from a multi-faith perspective, which was very helpful for a learning opportunity for me. So, and then I think probably another big pivot would be the development of the One Love Table, the food bank ministry that my dear brother Habib dreamt of and made a reality. So yeah, those are just a few of the things that I
Thank you.
could think of.
Thank you, Julianne. And of course, I couldn't do this without you. So thank you. We're gonna turn the microphone to Khalid. I see Khalid is on the line, and maybe he wants to say something as to how did the chaplaincy benefit him.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh Habib. I really appreciate.
Oh, Khalid Patel. Let me introduce you formally. This is Khalid Patel, my brother from another mother, from RIS days and from Halal Food Festival. And when I shared the poster this week, and he said, Habib, don't you know that I have been volunteering at East Detention for years? I said, all I know is that you're from Halal Food Festival. So, given Khalid's Islamic background, of course, it's only relevant that he has and his leadership in the Muslim community, only relevant that he would have assumed this position of volunteering at the East Detention Center for seeing the Muslim inmates over the years. So I really wanted him to share that, because as a volunteer, like Shakur is, we don't often hear the stories of what inspired our volunteers to take on this role and to go through it even during the pandemic. So over to you, Khalid.
Once again, Jazakallah Sheikh Habib for having me and putting this forum together. I think it's, I should say, it's very important, something that I feel like the community is not aware of, and it's neglected, the people in these institutions. You know, and I always tell the inmates also that, you know, throughout Toronto, you know, there's programs happening for people who are in need of, you know, clothing, food, all these other services, but there's very few programs that are run in the masjids, or there's things happening for the inmates and people who are in these institutions, and there needs to be more awareness regarding this, right? In terms of how I got associated with this, alhamdulillah, about 22 years ago, there was one brother who was doing volunteering work there, and he got me connected at the Scarborough East. And what happened was, I just got hooked. You know what I mean? Like once you see what people are looking for, the inmates in there are looking for, and it's nothing material they want. They just want somebody there to give them hope, and somebody to, you know, guide them in terms of you know, just this how can I say it?
Having a presence.
Yeah, just having a presence, right? And that's the thing, right? And so what I usually do is just I go once or twice a week. I try to do at least once a month. I do a Jummah there, and trying to meet as many people as possible in the different ranges. And what I've learned from this is that, you know, you find all kinds of people there, right? I've met people who are really elderly. I've met really young people, you know, and I've met scholars there. I've met people, leaders of community there, and everybody's vulnerable, right? And everybody who's in there is looking for something from the outside that they can get hope from, right? And the biggest thing is that people want that there is hope in Allah.
Could you raise the volume, please?
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little bit more.
I think that's the
Yes.
highest I can go.
Yes.
Right. So the other thing is that how the people, all they want to hear is that, you know, there is hope in Allah, right? It's through Deen and through the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through dua, you know, that they can take from, they can learn that, and they can get their situation changed. And the other thing I always try to implement in everybody there is, and the advice is that how they can be the means of change for the people there while they're there, how they can bring out change the environment within the people that they're with, that 24 hours they're connecting with. How can they become a means of positiveness to the people there, right? And through them, people can change their lives while they're there, right? So those are the things. In terms of pandemic, it was really tough because I wasn't able to go in. Obviously, there was no for the volunteers. It's very tough. We couldn't go. There was no Zoom meetings or any of that kind of things. So the institution just opened up last week. So alhamdulillah, after 2.5 years, I was able to go and start meeting people.
Oh, great. That's congratulations. Great. Yeah. Well, Khalid, you've been involved in Tabligh Jamaat, so have I. And there is a certain element when you go in Jamaat that really pushes you to make sacrifice, right? To make sacrifice on behalf of other people. Ikram al-Muslimin. Were you able to really truly implement that concept of Ikram al-Muslimin and showing love to your Muslim brothers when you were visiting the brothers inside the prison?
Yes, of course. Sorry about that. I think that's one of the main qualities that how we can show the brotherhood, at the same time also that we have to have the concern for those people, the people who are in there, because and I really believe in this, that these are forgotten people who are not thought of within the community, right? So thinking of these people and making dua for them, and thinking the best of them, right? And that's the biggest thing.
Very good. We'll turn the mic to Brother Juma. I see Brother Juma has joined us. Brother Juma, what's the benefit of having a chaplain in your life?
Actually, to be honest with you, it's a very good question. But my life being a Muslim is not that long. It's only 7 years in this faith. Before that I wasn't. But having a chaplain is actually very helpful. Very, very, very helpful, because as a beginner, the chaplain came and enlightened you with hadith and Quran, help you with mashab and other stuff that is hard to find when you are in there. So I think, the chaplain's presence is very, very, very important, to be honest with you. Without them, we can't do anything, because we need somebody to teach people. There's a lot of people who are just, they accepted Islam, but they still need guidance, They need somebody who's knowledgeable, other than the imam who just came on Friday, prayer, and that's it. Yeah, they need somebody who can hang around with, somebody who's very knowledgeable about hadith and sunnah, and can tell them about their deen, And there's a lot of brothers, honestly, and language also is a barrier. They need somebody who's bilingual or can understand both languages fluently and help. So the chaplain does that job, actually. Does that job like nicely. Yeah.
Thank you, Juma. Thank you. Juma has an amazing story. Oh yeah, he has followed the path of Islam. But we will go to the final question, and I will go back. So Ibrahim, you're still there with us? I will go back to Earl, then Ibrahim, and then I'll take it on Imran, and Julian, and Khalid, Shakir, and Zakia. So hope you stay with me. My final question to each of you is, what is self-care? What does self-care look for you as a chaplain or as a volunteer, as a person who's studying, involved in caring for others, running around trying to make the world a better place while you're burning? They give the example of the candle that burns, giving light to the rest of it. We just had Diwali this week, so you know about the candle and the light. The candle burns and it gives light to the rest of the world, but it's burning itself. So what does self-care look for you? Look, you, Ibrahim. Go ahead.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Self-care. MashaAllah. That's a really excellent question. One of the things that for me was most important was I didn't have much self-esteem. Matter of fact, at the time I embraced Islam, I was like 24 years old. I didn't think I was going to live to 25. Matter of fact, the police had killed 2 of my gang members and came into the jail visiting another inmate, saw me and told me I was next. So I didn't see very much hope and very much future, very much possibility. And I thought that was it and something like that. And I wasn't afraid to die or anything like that. I just didn't have it. Our family came from slavery, so I didn't have that feeling of worth or value. Okay, Black people didn't. They say Black Lives Matter. Not back then, it didn't. Okay, and because of that, I thought that that was really the end. But Allah had another plan, and it's really the ability to come now to really implement 4 things. I found for myself there was 4 things that I did, but it's what I taught and shared with so many people by the permission of Allah all around the world, right? And I come from the ghetto, so we didn't have much, and we were surrounded by drugs, violence, crime, all kinds of different wickedness. That's all we knew. That's all we had access to. And when I understood these 4 things, that it became easier for me to make progress for myself, to wrap my head, my mental attitude around what I needed to do, to believe in God, to do good deeds, to speak the truth, and to remain patient. By those 4 things, we're able to come now to turn so many things around. Illa ladina amanu wa amanu salihat, wa tawasaw bihaq, wa tawasaw bisabr.
Beautiful.
Surah 103. Yes, Surah 103 in the Quran. And we literally not only got to be able to recite that, but we're showing people how to implement it, how to make it part of who they are, how to make it part of their self-care. That these are the things that set the foundation and allow you to go in the directions that you want to go that are more positive, more productive, and more beneficial. And I just want to take one moment to give a shout out to the Somali community, especially to the women of the Somali community, that when I came out of jail, they hounded me. I mean, literally hounded me, because they said, brother, I have my son, I have my uncle, I have my father, I have my brother, I have my husband. They had everybody in there, and they were saying, they need help. You can go and do some work. If you can help them, we need someone to go and do the work. Please, brother, please don't say no. And literally they really pushed me. And the key thing was that they were pushing me, but at the same time, when we needed to support the program to be able to take food into the jails where they eat, remember Habib, we've done that. And when we were going down to take the Qurans and taking prayer mats and the kufis and all manner of different things we're doing, they were there to support that. And I want to give that recognition to them, because without them, I don't know that we would have gone as far as fast to be able to get that. But it was not just about my self-care, it was about them wanting to care for their families and care for their loved ones and so on like that. And they needed help. And they didn't know how to do it. And when they found someone, man, they did not leave me alone after that.
Beautiful. And they're still doing that. They recently had a conference here, Somali women formulated an organization called How to Mend the Crack in the Sky. So these are the mothers who have their kids inside, and they have been calling me and others to really do something. So you're right. I will turn to Earl. Earl, what does self-care look like?
Well, I guess when you were asking me that self-fear, it'd be like, to me, it goes back even before I became a chaplain, and I took on a position which included chaplaincy, which I had nothing to do with at that time. This is back in a long time ago in my church. And yeah, it's difficult. You gotta, there's a certain fear that you're going to fail, you're going to not come up to someone's standard. You're not going to be able to help the people that are putting the trust in you, that to give them the help. And I remember, just thinking that, well, I just took comfort in my founder's words, and it was more of the line of having the courage, and you can give yourself courage. So I said, well, I certainly need some courage. And give myself. I try to ask for help, for that courage to carry on. And sometimes you just carry on into it, even if you're not sure, and you can come out the other side, and you make it. And maybe you don't always make it. It doesn't really matter. As long as you know you did your best, you tried to help people.
You fake it till you make it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it to a degree. But you do have, there are things that you can.
No,
study
you're
and
right.
learn
I mean,
on it.
sometimes I'm working in a long-term care home and in a prison, and sometimes me and Julian, we talk about this. Like sometimes you don't know where you are, like what you're doing. Like there's so much going on, and you got to take a breather. And the good thing about during the COVID is like they actually encourage you to take a breather and come outside and breathe because you have the mask on. So which is good.
That's good. Yes.
Self-care is looks different for every person, and that's why Julian has put on her camera now, because she's gotten some self-care here now. Julian, your turn.
Yeah, I figure I'm with friends. So I had my camera off before because I'm in pajamas, but since we're talking about self-care, appropriate. I think prayer life is the magic bullet for self-care. I find myself, anyways, I can't speak for everybody else, but sometimes, and I'm very grateful that I have a best friend who happens to be a chaplain, but I find chaplains, for people who are immersed in so many people's lives, we can be incredibly lonely sometimes, and that we are so busy caring about other people's spiritual journey that we can sometimes get lost on our own. And so that I feel when I'm feeling those moments of I'm faking it till I'm making it and they're overwhelming, that's when I know I have to, seclude myself and go to a quiet place. In the Christian tradition, we follow Jesus, and Jesus did that. So if he needed to get away sometimes from the crowd of just people asking him and wanting to do good things, but sometimes you just don't have it. You're just like, these people. I'm done peopling. So for me, it's definitely been having a prayer life. And one thing that I really started doing during COVID was writing down my prayers. Partially it started out of because I couldn't remember all the prayer requests. There was just too many. And I started writing them down. And I got to tell you, when I look through those journals from the past couple of years, anytime that I have moments of doubt, I just have to look at that and see, oh my goodness, I prayed for this guy's parole hearing. Oh yeah, he just got a job. Oh, he just actually had twins. Like there's a guy that I was praying for his parole hearing, and he literally just had twins 2 weeks ago. Twins. Wow. Twins. He has 2 jobs too, obviously, but but he's out. He's out from our halfway house. He's doing great. And he has twins, and he's a lifer. And this is a man who'd been journeying with for years. And so, when you flip back through the pages of your prayer journal, you can see the hand of God in the lives of everybody around you. And, if he's doing things for others, then he's doing things for you. Right. So, yeah, I would say prayer life, lots of coffee, and then my little minions that are asking for my help right now.
Okay, thank you. That's deep. Thank you so much. Let's go on to Imran. What does self-care looks like? I'm turning Saad Khalid. Welcome to the show, and I'll be turning to you for your insights as to what chaplaincy benefits you. Go ahead, Imran.
Jazakallah Habib. I mean, that's a very big question. I think self-care looks different to every single person, and I really appreciated actually what Julian said there is about prayer and stuff. And I think faith really holds you and grounds you when you're struggling. And one thing I realized is there's actually a hadith, a saying of the Prophet, where he says that where on the day of judgment, on the final day, when God will ask his servant that you saw me hungry and you didn't feed me, and the servant will say, how is it possible? How can I feed God? It's impossible. It's not something I can do. He said, well, you came across one of my other servants who were hungry and you never fed them, or I was thirsty and you never gave me water. And you'll say again, how can I give water to God? It's impossible. But God will say that you came across one of my other servants who was thirsty and you could have given them water. Likewise, I think there are opportunities that we are given with on a daily basis, or whatever it is, that we are able to assist someone or help someone. And by doing that, we are in turn, we're increasing our connection with God, with our higher power, whoever it is that we believe in. And by doing that, I don't think God will let you down any day of the week. So I believe that if you hold on to that faith, if you hold on to the rope of Allah, like Brother Ibrahim was saying earlier, which is really important, I don't think that you're gonna have to worry that much. It seems like an easy thing to say, but when you really have the faith, you'll see that it's possible to use that as your self-care.
Very good. So in giving to others, you give to yourself.
Exactly.
But you guys are so holy. You're talking about prayers and fasting, and for me, it's Netflix, man. Okay, over to you,
I
Sad.
didn't think you ever sat down long enough to Netflix. This is something I'm learning about you tonight. This is wonderful.
Sad.
Assalamualaikum. Hi everyone. I'm just on my phone. Sorry, my camera's on. It's been a long day. I was at school all day. What do you want me to talk about, Imam Saab?
Okay, Sad, just
You gotta just put me on the. You just put me on the spot.
Of course, I always put you on the spot. But recently, Saad came out. He has been at university, and he came to the food bank to volunteer and to help us. But he told me a beautiful story how Saad, I want you just because we're talking about chaplains, just say what benefit a chaplain was to you during your journey.
I mean,
maybe like Sheikh Ramzi, for example.
Yeah, I mean, like just chaplaincy in general was a very big deal for me. I started off my time in Millhaven in a maximum institution where there's nothing to do. It's a very stressful environment. First, I started with Imam Yassin. He was working there. And his chaplaincy was like a lifeline, right? It's your lifeline to your spirituality, to the world outside. And, the chaplains are taking their time to come and speak to you. And there's so much need there. Even with a limited time, they're able to bless us with that and remind us to be patient during our adversity. So like for me, chaplaincy was a backbone, right? So Imam Yassin was there, and then Sheikh Ramzi came in, and it was like a life transformation for me personally, myself. I know a lot of other brothers too, they really benefited from it. And yeah, like I can't say, there's too much to say, right?
Yeah, yes. That's good though. That's good. Thank you.
So it continues to be a help to me today, right? Like I stay in touch with Imam Habib. I stay in touch with like Sheikh Ramzi, and like they're still my support. They're still supporting me outside, and like I wouldn't know what I would do without it. So like I'm just so grateful for all the work that you do, and like it means a lot, and it actually does impact and change people's lives.
Great. And everyone, I want us to Ibrahim and Saad, maybe you never met Ibrahim, but he is a pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be at Millhaven way back, before Yassin, before Michael Taylor, before myself. Okay. Indeed, and there's a race whether Ibrahim is the first chaplain or is it Michael Taylor. And today I got an email from Abdulhai Patel. He says he's the first chaplain, so we have a race going on.
So you guys have beef.
Next, I turn to
hold on. Habib, whoa, slow down, slow your roll, Papa.
I think you can find a Toronto Star article that says that it was Ibrahim, but I'm just saying.
Hey, listen, for me, I'm in competition with no one, man. I'm not in the game of playing who's better than who. Okay,
no.
I'm just trying to be a better person than the guy I was yesterday. Okay, that's me. Okay, but the other thing I want to say, according to what you were saying earlier, is that when it comes to chaplaincy, a long time ago, I came to the realization and acceptance that I refuse to lose. I either win or I learn. And that's one of the things I pass on to people. Either I win or I learn. And this is what we try to inculcate with the people and try to bring out of them, that spirit of winning, because we show them how to come now to put things in priority and get out of that comfort zone. Sometimes the comfort zone, which is surrounded by their fear zone, is coming out to squeeze in on them and put them under all kinds of pressure. And when that happens, they do so many things. They make wrong mistakes. Big, unbelievable tragedies happen. So how do they get out of that? They get into the learning zone. And then ultimately, to be able to overcome the challenges, you got to get into the growth zone. And this is what we're doing now. This is what we've been doing for the longest time. This is, I mean, our stuff has been straightforward through the process called SIPKIS. It says, Ibrahim powered by SIPKIS, SIPKIS. See it big, keep it simple. It's a system, it's a methodology, but it's a plan. And it works. So thank you very much for all the stuff you're doing. For all of you guys and all the work. Thank you.
I know. I attended one of Ibrahim's workshop. Keep it simple. You take if you take the word learn, take out the L, you'll earn. So you have to learn to earn.
Yeah, but take the word blame. Take the word blame. Above the line, people learn. Below the line, people blame. When you get people in that process of blaming and they're putting themselves in there, what happens is the blame game becomes the lame game. You take off the B, you cover the B, you'll see it's a straightforward lane. And when it becomes lame, people become crippled emotionally, financially, religiously, romantically, all kinds of different ways. And then ultimately, the reason why they become lame is because they don't take responsibility. And if you cover the first 3 letters of blame, you'll see for yourself that it's about the person who you see after you see the 3 letters covered. Me.
Beautiful. I want us to turn to our
Yeah.
other 2 guests before we close.
Okay,
Shakiro, please come on back and share with us what does self-care looks like for you.
Alhamdulillah.
Man, this guy has been in the trenches for the last 20 years and he's still going. And when you look at him, he's so young. Look, there's no gray beard on that face.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Islam of Allah. Islam of Allah. As many of you have said, it's yourself instance. Actually, that's the most important. Of Rasulullah said, do unto others as you expect others to do unto you. Number 2, which is the core important thing, is put it in action. Whatever you say to anybody, you put it in action first. That means challenge yourself first before you say it to others. Have the feeling for others as for yourself. Put yourself in their shoe so you can feel what they are doing. So that's the most of the time what I go through with them. I always ask myself question: what if I'm inside as they are inside? What will I do in their own position?
Alhamdulillah. Empathy.
Because you are the main source for them, for the whole world. Many of them, they learn their mistakes when they are there. The reason that they are there is not an issue, so we don't need to judge them. But what I make them to realize is their learning curve of the reality of life.
Yeah.
Correction centers is another world. It's different to reality of this world outside.
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to change when they are inside. But can they keep their changes of whatever they achieved inside when they go outside? That's the major problem that we need to focus. That's the challenges that is challenging us. That's why we have so many inmates coming back, because they don't have the community to accept them. So how can we turn this page? That's a big challenge for us. I know Brother Ibrahim Downing for a long time, and I know many other brothers, and of course, like yourself and everyone, and I know whatever we have been doing, but at the end of the day, most of them are still coming back. Yeah. What do we have for them when they go outside? What do we have for them? This is the problem.
Yeah.
And how can they implement their changes? when they don't have community support.
Absolutely. Jobs, family, community support, faith, love, no judgment. So that's why the halfway house, I mean, I must congratulate Julian for the awesome work she does. She accommodates the Muslim guys in the halfway house with all their Islamic needs amazingly. And and of course, jobs. But you're right, we don't have, or we don't even have a Muslim halfway house. We don't even have an organization that you can call up to say, hey, help us, guys in prison, you know, you need some help. We don't. Last week, somebody called me for that. Said, do you have a Muslim organization that can help an inmate financially? I said, no, we don't. We fundraise maybe. Okay, I wanna close off this, so I will turn to Zakia, and I will close off after that. Zakia, what does self-care looks like? You worked in a hospital for a while.
Yes, Habib, I did, and I'll be on my own experiences. I know that when I had a very heavy heart, or I've connected deeply with a patient, and I know that they have maybe little time left with big worries on their mind. I always benefited by speaking to my father, and my father to me is not just someone who's older than me, not just someone who's wiser than me, but also someone who's so spiritually grounded and has incredible life experience. And I always found that speaking to him, to have someone that you respect, that you revere, that has a lot of wisdom and experience, it helps lift the fog. So that was very helpful to me. And then another thing is an advice that my teacher
Well, that's
gave.
definitely different.
Yeah, and the next thing is really to connect with nature.
That's not the usual response we get in Canada. So that's definitely different. Speaking to your father, who's an alim, who's an Islamic imam as well. So that's amazing. I have to take that one back for sure. Continue.
And the next is to connect with nature. My teacher once said, when you feel like life is all chaos, go and take a walk in nature and you will see beautiful order. And yeah. I've always, as a mom with 3 young kids, when it gets really crazy, I just put them in the stroller and I take a walk and it all makes sense. I don't know. So to me, nature always has a way of just calming me, grounding me, and seeing the creator and knowing that he has a purpose. He's all aware. Nothing is in vain. Nothing is not noticed. Nobody's pain is just dismissed. And, something inshallah will follow through. So those are my coping and self-care.
Amazing. Very insightful, man. I haven't come across that. Walking in nature. David Suzuki will be very much happy with that. Walking in nature. And I love it. And speaking to an elder, which is a kind of a mystical and Sufi tradition that we have in Islam, where you share with an elder who you believe in, and he in turn gives you guidance or just perspective. Maybe that's why we have in our work we have like a monthly meeting with chaplains, and we don't really have an elder though. You're right. We only speak to peers and colleagues, but it helps. Today we had a meeting and we were just sharing some of our frustrations, and everyone had something to give back to and to share. So it helps when we share. Juma, you have anything what does the self-care looks for you? Working so hard in construction and running to the masjid and learning everything you can on YouTube about Islam?
Honestly, I think that I feel blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed the day that accepted Islam as a religion for me, because of a very simple ayah that I found. And hadith says that whoever, accepted other than Islam is not going to be accepted from him in the day of judgment. I said, hey, where am I standing right now? And that was quite maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that I was a Mormon, I was following
Or
Joseph
a
Smith.
Mormon. Imagine a Mormon from North Sudan.
Yeah, yeah, I was a Mormon, and I was baptized as a Mormon. But inside me there was something always, calling that's, I mean, yearning for something that I don't know what it is. I got questions. I couldn't find any answers, because everybody around me is telling me the same thing. That is true, but inside me I feel different, and you can't find a different answer. Yeah, until I got incarcerated, that's I found the answer. And my life changed forever. Simply in daily basis, self-care for me, I would think like fear Allah, okay? In what you do, you say that. As long as I do those two, I fear Him in everything that I say and everything that I do, I think I'm on the safe side. And always, like even before this meeting, a few minutes ago, I want to do something this way. Hey, is that something going to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or something going to push you away? If it's going to push you away, just forget about it. If it's going to make you bring you closer, you got to do it. And life goes on. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Jimma. Jimma is amazing. Good. I see Ibrahim has posted it. I want to thank everyone. I had a question. Anybody could answer this. Just one person, anyone could answer this. What does decolonization of chaplaincy looks like? In Canada, with Black Lives Matter, with the Truth and Reconciliation, and with everything else that's happening on anti-racism, there is more and more conversations happening in workplaces, institutions, education, on decolonization. I spoke at the conference recently on this. What does decolonization of chaplaincy looks like? Anyone?
Okay, Habib, I want to take a shot at this and say that one of the things that we heard from a very renowned and respected inmate, Nelson Mandela, he said education is going to be the thing that will set our people free. Education. We have to, and I'm talking about inmates in general and people in poverty and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is. I mean, we have to have a circumstance by which we can help people get educated, but we also have to realize that people are on different levels. If we're trying to deal with everybody on the same level, that's what we're going to miss. We're going to have a whole lot of people who are going to fall through the cracks because they're not able to reach up to there. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are way ahead. And because they're way ahead, guess what? The reality is the trickle-down theory doesn't always work. The theories don't work. And when you get down here, it doesn't apply. So how do we get to reorganize that? When we take colonial thinking and mindsets out of that, then we're not going by those same ideas. And we're going to go now to be able to put in institutions that would allow people to develop the skills they have based on the experience that they live through, which is sometimes more effective than coming out to have these books and all the different accolades from the schools and so on like that. They have the real life experience and they're able to get further and do more because of that. In some cases, not all cases, but at the same time, we respect both. But they come now to put those two things together, this would be the ideal situation to find a way to marry those two things and put them to work. But that's my take.
Well, I like that idea, Abraham, because I was thinking education as well. And not everybody, when we say education, and experience is education, as long as we can learn from it, and we don't get caught in it. But also, I mean, there's just probably 1 billion people who can't read. And all of us are at different levels of being able to read and understand what's before us, whether it's our scriptures or anything else. And I think education is a way. When I was thinking of self-care, I was thinking, yes, education and a good walk, a long walk. So those are some of the ways, just to get out of it a little bit, just to sort of, find some encouragement somewhere and maybe some new idea about how things are, and that would bring you up. And if you don't have that, just go for a walk. Usually that helps too.
No, the walk
Anyways.
is amazing. The walk definitely. I like what Zakiat said earlier. I mean, there's a yoga, right? Hiking yoga. It's something that is popular. So hiking, walking, decolonization of chaplaincy. I
I'd like
will
to say
leave that
something.
for you to think about.
I'd like to add something to that, Imam Habib.
Yeah.
So when I expressed my chaplaincy experience, I mentioned a little bit about the history and how there was a large Muslim community within the area of the hospital, and there was a lot of campaigning and a lot of work that went before the chaplaincy team facilitated for a Muslim chaplain to be part of the team. And this is between two hospitals. There's a lot of history. And so, when I think of that, I mean, England was not colonized, it's the colonizer. But this is an example of how you integrate and you open doors based on the needs of your community, based on the diversity that the community represents. When you think of decolonization of chaplaincy, I guess I would say, and this is my limited understanding of chaplaincy in Canada, but that certain denominations have, of course, greater authority, perhaps, and representation. What I'm hearing from even this conversation is the large majority of people are doing volunteer chaplaincy, and that itself is a symptom of the colonization of chaplaincy, right? That our services kind of represent primarily certain denominations or religious, as within the paid positions, and all others are kind of voluntarily, selflessly contributing, and they do so out of goodwill. But I would say decolonization of chaplaincy is really to recognize that all religions have a valid space and place to be within the chaplaincy sphere. And how can we broaden that? And I think Emmanuel is absolutely an excellent step forward in providing that solution. The fact that there's a shared space, a college where people are receiving training, being able to communicate with one another and appreciate the diverse denominations that these people are training from, inshallah, should open doors and help with this process.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you. Good night. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, and shanti, and peace for each and every one of you. Wherever you're logged in, watching, or hearing our podcast tonight, it's about Muslim chaplaincy in Canada. And we have touched upon pivoting. We have touched upon reason why persons entered chaplaincy, and of course, self-care. And the big question, which we will hope to continue our next conversation, is that how do you go about decolonizing chaplaincy, if there's such a thing? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, bless you all. And I want to say congratulations. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your love and support. And of course, all the brothers inside, all the people that we serve in all walks of life. They thank you. I was thinking if I could quickly just read out the names of the brothers and sisters on the list, because they couldn't make it, but at the same time, we wanted to honor them and recognize them. So Imran Ali, police chaplain; Musleh Khan, police chaplain; Ayman Tahir, Kids Hospital; Yasin Dwai, University of Toronto; Abdul Hai Patel, University of Toronto; New York Police; Syed Abdul Wahab, Central East Correction Center; Islam Ali, Toronto South Detention; Brian Yalawandi, University of Waterloo; Rashid Carter, Canadian Forces; Michael Abdul Rashid Taylor, Armed Forces and Correctional Services Canada; Umar Patel, University of Toronto; Ramadan Tekin, Alberta Federal Prison; Dawood Butt, Maplehurst Prison and Milton Hospital; Hafiz Faizan, Trillium Hospital; Captain Khalid Azhar, Canadian Forces; Captain Jalal Khaldoon, Canadian Forces; Syed Ali Qadri, Correction Services; Anthony Stehover, Niagara Region. Anthony is the Muslim chaplain in Niagara Region Prison; Abdullah El Esmar, Kingston Prison; Afraz Baksh, Corrections; Imam Guma, Saspen Malik Murad, he is in Alberta. Hussam Hilal, Brock University, Ziaullah Khan, Nova Scotia. Abdul Fattah Tawakkul, London Prison. He is with the police as well. Mustafa Azam, Federal Prison. Naveed Aziz, RCMP, Yusuf Badat, Scarborough Hospital. Muhammad Ishu, Maplehurst. Muhammad Masla, Regina Prison, he's with the RCMP. Abdul Hai Patel, City of Toronto. Yahya Suleiman, Headwaters Hospital. Abu Noman Tariq Wilfred, Gloria Hospital, University. Rifat Muhammad, South Lake Hospital. Ibrahim Long, Islamic Family Services in Edmonton. Khalid Patel, we heard from him. He's detention. Major Suleiman Dimiri, Canadian Forces. Major Ryan Carter, Canadian Forces. Captain Ishak Yargansi, Canadian Forces. Captain Barbara Helms, she's the first Muslim woman in the Canadian Forces. And Captain Sirap and Captain Adnan, they're in the Canadian Forces. And additionally, Imam Shakir Pandor, he's with the Bowmanville and the Oshawa Hospital, and some others. Thank you very much, and may Allah bless you. Happy Islamic History Month, and happy Spiritual and Pastoral Week. I do have a surprise. Honorable MP Rob Oliphant, he was invited to join us, but he couldn't make it in Parliament. But he has offered to send out certificates to some of the chaplains, so I have to gather their names, which is a task, right? So I have to gather the names and get it to his office, and somehow we will get some of these certificates, hopefully digitally, which will be easier. So the government of Canada actually appreciates and recognizes all the chaplains here tonight. And again, thank you and Assalamu alaikum.
One love.
One love. See
One
if you can get a picture with everybody going like that.
love, yeah.
One love. Give it up now, guys. Give it up. Give
I
some-
can't, that I'll
those-
drop my phone because I'm holding my
Yeah,
phone.
There you go.
Habib, help
That's
me
okay.
out. You be the other half of the heart.
I'm gonna see how do you get the picture, man?
You just have to
I got
screenshot.
I got this one
Screenshot.
for you, Julian. I got
I
this
don't know how
one.
to do
Oh,
it.
thank you. A long distance heart.
Imran, can you do it?
Can you take a picture?
Forgot how to do it.
Ready? Okay,
Oh,
3,
okay.
2. Oh wait, hold on. I can probably
So come on. Just like that, I
1
think.
second.
Uh-huh.
I can do it. There.
There you go.
There you go. Lots of love. One
Good
love.
night.
Good night,
Habib, you
everybody.
did well,
Thanks.
bro. You did well.